So, a while ago, I was out and about doing side quests as usual. I decided to go to the gym in the middle of a heat wave, and there were warnings that had just been issued on my side of the state. So logically, I decided to bike over there and get in a lift. I check in, hit legs, and then I return to my apartment, step foot inside. I start thinking about what my next move is during this time frame. But before I start anything at all, I want to make sure my environment is clean as possible because it'll help me focus better. So I start cleaning, and as I'm doing that, I think about how urgently I need a meal because creatine and vitamin gummies aren't the best sources of energy in the long term. Then I start thinking about how I got work in a few, and then I start thinking about, what am I going to work on today? And even worse, I haven't had time with God either, so my brain's pretty much just glitching with every action that I take, trying to pull me into a new direction every second or so. But despite that, somehow I focus on my main task, which was just cleaning. And while I'm cleaning, I'm putting in new trash bags, and I noticed that the paper towel container, right above the trash can, it was empty. And it's no big deal. I'm sure I could find extras. So I go search some different locations for extra rolls, and I still can't find any. And this is particularly annoying for me because I use paper towels for everything. Mind you, I'm still thinking about 6 different things while I'm doing this. But anyways, to my spectacular amazement, the paper towels that I was looking for so rigorously, guess where they were? They were on top of the counter, right next to the trash can. The same exact spot where I realized, crap, I need new paper towels. Where can I find an extra roll? Just to completely ignore it right in front of me. And sometimes I really amaze myself, I do, but I have the self-respect to not insult myself. So let's look at this deeper. Let's make this deeper than it needs to be. Since my mind was so divided into giving attention to multiple things, it blinded me of the paper towel roll that was right in front of me. And it made me think how many answers to my issues are right in front of me and I can't see or hear them because of the distractions of the world. Immediately thought of the story of Jesus walking on water. If you don't know it, I'll tell you real quick. Jesus pretty much just pulls up on the disciples while they're on a boat, and he's like, yo guys, it's me, I'm not a ghost, because the disciples are like, oh, it's a ghost. And Peter's like, if it's you, tell me to come to you. So Jesus is like, come. He gets out of the boat and literally starts to walk on water towards Jesus, but as soon as he shifts his attention to the storm, he starts to sink back into the water. Now, luckily, Jesus was too cool to let him drown, and so he pulled him back up. But based on the story, we can see that being distracted takes our eyes off of Jesus. Whether it be little distractions or genuinely life-threatening things polluting your mind, we know that these things have the tendency to remove our focus from Jesus. And since you don't have your mind on God, you start giving your energy to all these other things that simply just cause anxiety. Then we try to figure it out by ourselves, and we begin to sink. But you already knew that. So let me ask you this. How do we get rid of distractions, and how do we keep our eyes on Jesus? Let's tackle these. How do we get rid of distractions? We need to think about what is distracting us. This could be money, conflict, eviction notice, friends, bad news that you received. It could be that dream that you're obsessed with, social media, TV, sports, etc. It's completely normal for us to get distracted by these things. The issue is when we start getting consumed by them. And when we get consumed, it's common for us to drop our guard and fall into things. Now, it's important to know why we get consumed in the first place. In the case of money, it's probably because you think money will make you happy and fulfilled, and I'd love to think so too, but it's not true, because once you get money, then you just get left looking for another source of fulfillment. And that's why most celebs go to drugs. Same thing with friends, you look at them as a source of fulfillment, but when they aren't around, suddenly life seems mundane. Your phone, because that's an easy source of fake fulfillment that makes you feel rested, but leaves you more tired afterwards. With problems, I've noticed that people hold on to their issues because it feels safe, and letting go just feels way too vulnerable. Essentially, they hyperfixate on their issues because they think overthinking might seem like the only way to solve their issues, which is a terrible way to go about things. These tend to be the most common reasons for fixation that I've seen. Now, how do we go about removing these distractions and fixations? First of all, we need to acknowledge the absolute biggest truth, that the only person who can fulfill us and keep us safe is God. So we need to try our best to rely on him and leave all of that junk with him, because he tells us to cast our anxieties unto him in 1 Peter 5:7. Then we begin to remove the distractions to the best of our ability. And these things can blind us of the truth that Jesus is the answer that we're looking for. That looks like maybe unplugging the TV for a minute. Maybe praying away. No, actually, pray this away. Pray away an idol of money or success. Casting your problems onto Jesus. And maybe putting down your phone in a different room while you get some time with God alone. So I just spoke about why distractions are present, why we give into them, and how we should remove them. But how do we keep our eyes on Jesus in the midst of all this crap? We keep our eyes on Jesus by praying continually. We ask him for help in every single situation. We try our best to include him in all aspects in our life. This includes reading, music, TV maybe, and consuming content online. We make it about him. We include him in prayer even when we cook or when we're on the way to an event. I could list so many things where we can include him, but those are just some. This also shouldn't be exhausting. Don't burden yourself with a relationship with God, because I'm positive that he doesn't want you exhausting yourself with trying to gain favor with him. This should be something good and refreshing, because you're already loved and validated in his eyes if you're his child. He won't love you more if you read the Bible more, but you definitely should do that. It is better if you pray and read than if you don't, so keep that in mind. To end this off, I just want to say that this is not easy at all. I find myself being consumed by loads of things during the day because I think it's all up to me to finish these things. But the reality is that I have Jesus to help me in all of it. So you actually have the choice to start today. Will you keep your eyes on God, or will you brush it off because you think you have enough time and you'll be fine on your own? Will you let yourself be overwhelmed by the distractions of life, or will you let Jesus help you manage your worries? Many are the distractions of the world, but the riches of God's love and presence are far more.